they're my size, and Gavin, who's the strongman stuff, is bigger than my brother, so like they go around on, and my nephew's almost my size, so when they go around, like, I guess there are tall people in Scotland, but it's just kind of funny to see like three giants get out of it.
They're tall, but they're not big.
Great, thanks, Danae. Okay, we are going to call to order the first Troy Local Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting. It is January 16th, 2026. Let's start with a new introduction for Councilmember Noreen McKee. That's right, McKee.
That is right, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Noreen, and we look forward to serving on the LDC board with you.
Thank you. Very happy to be here, excited to be here, actually. Very interested in economic development and your projects, and I'd like to learn more about them.
It's a really lively time from when I first joined to now, for all the stuff going on. You don't get any action on the first item, though. I apologize, because it's approval of minutes.
Yeah, I know.
You're left out on the first one.
I'm going to abstain or whatever you require.
Let's go with approving minutes for Danae to get everything in order for October 17th, November 7th, November 21st, and December 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have Noreen abstaining. And let's jump right into the Executive Director's Report.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I'll read it again. Welcome to the new board member, Councilmember Noreen McKee. We look forward to working with you. Like Jeff noted, we have a lot of projects going on, new city hall, geothermal, some exciting stuff that's coming up this year that could involve the South Troy industrial area, and a couple other projects that are in the hopper too. So, this is a crucial tool for the city to use for economic development. And over the past year or two, we've been kind of kicking it up a notch and utilizing it. So look forward to working with you to continue all that progress for our city. One of the things, I'll kind of skip ahead, we did, nothing necessarily, I don't believe, I'll check in with Andrew here like I normally do, but between Proctor's Geothermal and King Fuels, there's not any huge updates. Proctor's, we're looking, their elements of construction have already started over there, and they're going to be really diving in probably over the next week or so. A lot's going to be happening. There's been some pre-construction meetings that have already been held. Again, everything's still on track with that. Outside of that, there's not, compared from our last meeting, a really huge update. Geothermal, there was a submittal to the PSC. They're in a public comment period until, is it March, Andrew, or?
Mid-March, I think.
Mid-March or so. Which I do think, I had talked to Danae about this too, talked to you, but, try to maybe let some of the off-takers and some other folks know about the public comment period so they have an opportunity to comment on it. I just want to reiterate again, good work, Andrew, Justin, everybody. That's something that's been in the works for years. There was a little bit of a pivot in strategy, I think, for the better, and it's still a great project that we can see, moving forward.
Seamus,
yes.
Excuse me, could you just give me a brief description or a synopsis of the project for geothermal?
Of geothermal,
yeah.
Yes. So really there's a pilot program that came out with some funding from NYSERDA. Really part of the pilot program is, and this started before my term as executive director, but really one of the highlights of it was kind of try to show, can the utility and the municipality work together in a more unique way to try to deliver on geothermal. That originally, the thought on that was going to be a kind of a thermal fee that would be applied. That kind of got worked over for many years, I don't know about many years, but back and forth, and it was just, everybody was kind of going into a little bit unknown. National Grid, LDC and Troy, where what the recent pivot was, that it's a little bit more, the relationship will be a little bit more of a straight lease. A lease is mixed in between the LDC, the city, and National Grid, you know, administratively, but otherwise, it's gonna be setting that geothermal network up in, downtown Troy.
Yeah, where is it right now? Where is it
There's no pictures in here,
located,
but
Yeah.
Designed to,
underneath the,
monument?
Correct, yeah,
Yeah,
by Monument
yeah.
Square, there'd be an energy center,
Uh-huh.
actually right next to, you're probably familiar with like Sam Judge's building, right
Sure.
before One Monument Square, right
Mhm.
next to that. That's where, remember the old like staircase kind of was, you could go down from a
Really
while
good.
ago, yeah. And part of the network would also be, a mixture in, Riverfront,
Mhm.
Chamberlain Riverfront Park, and tied in through, there's kind of a larger shed, I guess you could
Mhm.
call it, or garage opening down, you know, by the steps over, leading into that, so.
the main asset, the well field, you know, hundreds of pipes that go 600 feet deep each, is gonna be in, Riverfront Park itself.
Okay.
That's really the battery of the system.
Mhm.
It's where the water cools and, you know, takes energy in and out. The state legislature with the city council's, 4 years ago,
Mhm.
home rule request, you can't lease parkland. But the state can allow you to do that in certain circumstances. So there's special legislation to allow the city to lease parts of Riverfront Park, lease underground for those pipes, right? The original pilot program involved the LDC, you know, borrowing, bonding, and building that,
Mhm.
and then having National Grid pay a thermal fee sufficient to pay our debt. There's a lot of risk there, and especially if they don't have the customers hooked up yet, and there's a little. And then they wanted to do a 5-year pilot only, which if we have a 20 or 30-year bond outstanding, we kind of want to know that
Yeah, sure.
it'll be paid for the entire term. So the conversation evolved to the point where Grid's like, okay, we'll build it. And we're like, well, okay, that's a lot
Mhm.
easier if we're just being there as a silent landlord,
Sure.
collecting a little bit of rent. But ultimately, it's National Grid really taking the huge risk, and, you know, we're not in a position where we just did something of that scale, about $10 to $12 million for
Mhm.
Proctor's. Doing that again was a lot to swallow, last year. So, the model right now is a little more risk-free, but it still has the city and the LDC as an active partner. And I think that's what the state wants to see,
Which
so.
is attractive
It
to
is-
the state, yeah.
it is the first, so the only
Mhm.
projects that you'd see with a district like geothermal loop would be maybe private on smaller campuses or
Mhm.
residential areas, but that's rare.
Hospitals.
Hospitals
yeah.
or
Mhm.
campuses or college campuses. So this is the first that I mean, I don't know about nationally, but in New York State, the first district
Okay.
geothermal loop.
Yeah.
So it's a test,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
put it lightly. Like, I mean, there's no reason it shouldn't be successful, but whether it's gonna be replicated in other municipalities is yet to be seen. So we're like, and
Have they built the pipes? Are-
nothing, no site
None of
work
that
has
Oh,
been
done.
done.
yet, they
Okay.
kinda have to still move through the PSC process.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry, what's PSC?
So, the Public Service Commission,
Oh,
so,
okay.
but there is, so, you know, some, you know, main institutions in downtown Troy, like the library, the music hall, they are going to be off-takers of it, so, you know, some of the stuff, construction that you probably see going on at the music hall, you know,
Mhm.
they're preparing to be off-takers of it as well, so there's already, several, you know, downtown buildings that are prepared to be off-takers, and I know that probably when I say it, in everybody's head, it's like, all right, let's get through step one, but, you know, you could see if it all works, can it then build out, you know what I mean? So it's a really, really
You could extend
exciting.
it essentially in multiple zones, but you're limited to a certain, let's say, block radius to cover. Like, I don't think it'll go as far in as, for example, like Atrium. Like, it's a tight area. And the building owners, I believe they can opt out of it. Like, we're not requiring anyone to sign up for it, right? It's a opt-in type thing.
Any
Mhm.
apartment buildings? Or is it mostly?
I don't know which ones.
I know, 'cause I know music
So there
hall,
would
The one right on the,
library, Hendrick Hudson, okay.
well, the one right on the corner already has
Second
their own
Street.
geothermal.
Maybe I could take advantage.
The closest one already has
Yeah,
their own.
that'd be wonderful, right?
No,
Oh,
not
Dallas.
Gauchi, it's I don't remember the name.
In Monument Square?
Monument Square Apartments.
They were like the first ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, they have their own.
Oh, that'd be very
good. So they have their own already. so
Oh, they
don't-
do?
don't
Oh,
need
great.
it, which is funny.
All right, well, thank you.
So, and then Andrew, before I go on to the small business grants, with geothermal King Fuels, I don't think we have any real big, updates. Since we do have the new board member, the King Fuels cleanup, again, another thing that's been, I don't know how long it's been going, I feel like forever, right? So,
We just talked about
how
that.
long?
Well,
The nineties, right?
it's like the process has been probably 15 years plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of this year entering one of its final phases, which is a huge win, and kind of will start to open up that area finally for some
And
development.
where is that located?
You would be like a little north of the Menands Bridge, if you kind of down on the South Troy Industrial Road,
Yeah,
that area there, kind of in
Okay.
between that and the jail, to give a rough.
Right, by the
yeah.
Alamo.
Mhm.
down
Yes.
that-
Yep. Yeah.
mhm.
A little further
Okay.
south.
And that's a
from there.
brownfield? What took place there? King Fuel?
Yes.
And why
so
are
yeah-
we cleaning it up? Because it's,
Yeah, because the contamination and yeah,
From fuel,
exactly.
okay.
Yep, so it's been years of,
Mhm.
well, I don't know if it's been necessarily years of cleaning up. It was years leading up to get it cleaning up, or has the
Yeah.
cleanup itself been 15 years?
No, it's been like 3-4, right?
The contamination
I've
started
seen
with
it
the
really
predecessors
ramped up
to
over the
National
past
Grid.
3 or so
Okay.
years.
And then
that's
King
why National
Fuels-
Grid is involved with
Right.
that.
The state, starting probably almost 30 years ago, put them under a consent order to clean its manufactured, gas tar, MGP, gas petroleum something products.
Yeah, manufactured gas plants,
It's-
but what
Yeah, it's
what
really
they did in
nasty
the old
stuff.
days is they utilized natural gas, and they purified it. And the purification process had the contaminants of with gas fall out. Used wood chips, various things that would bond to. And then they take that waste and they bury it. They use it as fill.
Sticky
So
goo.
everywhere around the state that they buried it, they're under a global consent order that if it's discovered, they're responsible to clean it up. So at the former King Fuel site, they had a little plant there that manufactured gas, and that's why they're on site. It's their responsibility to do the remedial cleanup.
They fought with the DEC for 15, 20 years before they, in that process through litigation, minimized it or at least shrunk the footprint that they had to touch.
Okay.
And in the context of that going on, King Fuels went into bankruptcy. The site shut down. They owed the city $2 or $3 million in taxes. It was a real mess. The bankruptcy court ultimately allowed the city through the LDC to buy the land, kind of in exchange for the tax lien being released. And then, long story short, this board, the city and the LDC had a HUD 108 grant that was actually a loan for about $2.5 million. $2 million of it was used to process that through the bankruptcy court. And we got a deed in 2007 to this mess, right?
Yeah, right.
What are we going to do with it? And it's taken literally since 2007. We were very close in 2014 to start the process. It hit a bump as the LDC and others were taking down buildings. It was a little messy, and I won't go down that road. But ultimately, it kind of came back together around 2000. The license with Andrew's help, the LDC licenses the land to Grid, so they have the right to go in there. They pay us monthly, kind of like a rent, as they're cleaning up. And finally, after 20 years, the HUD 108 loan, I think, is going to be paid off either this August or next August.
August 26th.
August 26th. So
Yes.
it's been a while. We've been carrying a big mortgage for something that was very uncertain, but now it's crystallizing a little bit. Grid should be done at the end of this year. The loan's paid off this year, and we have, in the next few months, I think the board will have on its agenda, we're finally getting to the point where we have developers wanting to go in and take pieces of it and start to redevelop it. So, lots to do.
So,
Its
over-
use
Yeah.
would really only be appropriate for like an industrial park,
Mhm.
right? Like, so it's gonna stay in.
You can't have housing on this
Yeah,
thing,
right.
yeah.
You don't wanna have parks, you don't wanna have kids running around.
Right.
Yeah. And from a
Right.
developer standpoint, up until now, you don't wanna touch it. If you're coming into it, and you've got dirty soil, you run away, like tail between your legs as fast as you can.
Unless you got the locked-in brownfield cleanup tax
Correct.
benefits, and we're working on that in the background.
Right.
Literally, last night, we have an update from Clough Harbor on the brownfield opportunity area designation. So, in the next 6 months to 9 months, we're gonna be talking about applying to what's called the Fast New York program, Restore New York program, what was the other one? Fast New York, Restore for some takedown, and then the Brownfield Cleanup Program, and I think there was another one.
That's
But
what I thought, probably,
the
yeah.
BOA is gonna
I know the
facilitate all
BOA
those,
is
yeah.
big, yeah, and I mean, the idea too could be that, you know, you could see, since Mike noted that this area is only, you know, prime for industrial use, that if you see some of the current industrial uses more on the northern end of the river start to slide down, that could then free up those spaces that you could develop, you know, housing or, you know, not only does it free up for more industrial use, but you could start to see it make a real, you know, I mean, multiple economic impacts and a housing impact. I mean, so
Well,
there's
that
a lot to
waterfront
it.
is a real gem that
Yeah.
we should utilize.
100%.
And there's really no, I mean, there was a jetty, it's still like in the water now, but those like, those fueling jetties, which I think is what it was.
Called a dolphin.
The Dolphin is
Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're really not, like, I don't think we're not talking about industrial like Port of Albany. We're talking, like, it's not gonna have.
maybe someday.
I mean, yeah, like.
Dream
that
big,
would
Jeff.
be-
Right.
Mini
We do
port.
have rights into the water,
Yeah.
which
Right,
is
that's-
super valuable.
But the work involved in that would be a lot, like.
The
to
orders
get there.
of dozens of millions of dollars,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So it would be more expectations of like, you know, trucks in and out, but and the other thing is, within the next 8 years, Corps of Engineers has to decide what to do with the Manans Bridge, which could
I
affect,
think it's sooner than that, yeah.
yeah,
Andrew knows more than anybody.
DOT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said there was a 10-year time limit, and that started like 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, that realistically, something has to be, since probably 5 years.
But yeah, so it's soon.
Commenced as
What's happening?
in construction or?
Select the
commenced as in-
option,
Okay.
go for it, yeah.
It's gotta be completely rebuilt,
Yeah.
is the assumption, right? Like,
Building
it's not-
the-
you can't-
They've been holding a lot of public comment and
Yeah,
stuff
it's at
with,
the,
you know, the debate is, you know, do you place the new bridge, you know, in a different section that
In kind, or is it gonna
traffic?
move a little, that's gonna
Go
affect
a
development on
little,
both sides, and go through things, like the transfer station down there, if you're familiar with the county waste station.
Yeah.
Another one of the things that we begrudgingly manage a little bit, but they do give a very favorable tipping fee to the city, and that's what the LDC rents it to them.
Okay,
Not very high rent, but the benefit there is giving the city a break on its solid waste program and what it does, and you guys have lowered your tipping or your garbage fee. The bridge might bisect that.
yeah.
We don't know, then we gotta find another place for a transfer station, so, that's kinda TBD.
Yes, we got a couple more ideas with them too, but yeah, TBD is right, but, yeah, like you said, Noreen, we have a lot of opportunity on our river, and I know that it's great, not just for housing and stuff. I think that Troy's lucky that we have that section of a couple miles that can still be dedicated to industry, you know, because, jobs, taxes, it's nice to see that go on there as well, so, but yeah, that's
I don't know.
another
I
exciting.
lived in Brooklyn for 32 years, and I was there when they developed the waterfront in Brooklyn, and it's just been remarkable.
Mhm.
There is some, I mean, I wouldn't call it industrial, but they have ships coming in now, tourism ships that come in.
We have
But
those
it's
too in
been-
Troy.
it's been fabulous. Yeah, I know,
American Cruise Line.
Yeah.
I'm
but-
hooked on the whole Gowanus redevelopment.
Oh, my
thing.
God,
It is
Gowanus.
fascinating how disgusting that canal is. It's like the worst
When I first-
environmental disaster. in
I
New York.
lived in the neighborhood, and when we first moved there in 1982, I would bike up to the park, and I'd have to cross the bridge, the canal. I would hold my breath.
Yeah,
And you'd look in there, and the water was purple and green and mucky,
yeah.
and,
It's like the cartoon where you dip a fish in and
Yeah,
then it comes out bones, like that's, it's so bad.
yeah, that's
Toxic
continues to be
Avenger.
a mess.
If-
Anyway,
If you get a chance, it's crazy how different it looks right now from just a year ago.
oh, I've been, yeah, I go back
That's
about once
great.
a month, yeah.
It's an interesting drive,
And
yeah.
there's, you know, residential, they're building up there, but there's still problems with the environment in
Yeah, the Sperry Building, that assemblage is gonna be part of the next conversation that we're gonna have very soon. If you can imagine the Sperry Building being gone and a rail spur there, and a giant building that might have salt in it. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's the first phase that gets to the Winans-Kill. Winans-Kill South is really an opportunity for this board to, like, we might actually recoup our investment down there, right?
Oh,
And
we
have,
plan to.
yeah, 16 acres of developable warehouse, heavy industrial, multimodal type stuff that, you know, the market will come, I think, so.
Yeah,
Be interesting to how that works out.
all exciting stuff.
Mhm.
I got a couple more ideas for us to jump into too, so it'll be exciting 2026. Onto the small business grant. So and just to kind of update you, Noreen, through ARPA funding through the city, the LDC was awarded funds to administer small facade grants.
Right.
I don't want to say just facades because it wasn't limited to that.
There was some
you could
Capital
do
improvement.
capital improvement grants because you could do some interior stuff.
For homeowners.
For
Businesses.
businesses,
Oh,
actually,
businesses.
yep, so, I mean, examples of some businesses that took advantage of it, DeFazio's in Little Italy, Valeni's up in Albia,
Crystal Fortune did it on the dog.
Dog Place up on
Daycare.
Pauling Avenue too, Terra over on Fifth Ave, took
The,
advantage of it.
The Refuge, their facade,
Refuge, yeah.
you know, and some other work.
So it really was a really successful program, and we're left with about roughly $200,000, and me and Danae have kind of gone back and forth for months trying to work on it. There was some folks that had put applications in, weren't able to get funding through other phases. Danae, on top of everything you do, thank you for, you know, reaching back and forth with all the business owners, property owners, and some of the folks that originally applied, their plans have changed. So what I'd like to do, and I believe it would require a vote, but I'd like to put forward to the board today that we tweak the program a little bit into that $200,000 we turn into, we're starting to see that it'll be a little bit more manageable for folks to go after a $5,000 or $10,000 grant. It also requires a match. So what we're finding, the previous program was closer to like $50,000. So some of those folks now are not as, their appetite doesn't seem where it was a year or two ago to do that match. So we're trying to keep it small.
Yeah, it's the applications that Nate put in was like almost 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now, 2 years ago is when it started going through applicants. And the initial process was the city council elected there was another board, a committee outside of this that was no members of the board. And now that committee just doesn't exist. It was former members of the previous city council, 2 city councils ago, members, and other members of the public. So that's been disbanded for almost 12, 18 months. And now we're left with, not everyone used all the money, and not every person that applied. Like, we weren't sitting at $200K left 2 years ago. We were sitting at, okay, we can't take any more. We've maxed it out.
Okay.
And now that time has gone on, because they had a year or two.
The allocations didn't execute, so we
Yeah,
have this
right.
fund balance left,
Legally,
yeah.
that's adjustment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is that, if they applied for this?
The
They
cost
just
of their
didn't do the work,
capital,
right.
Oh, I think,
I think
they have to borrow money to get their match.
Project full parts, some of it unfortunately was, and there was even a couple that weren't sticking to the guidelines, so, you know, they weren't, so there was a
Really,
mixture.
really simple. I had to put up 50,000 to get 50,000. Well, if I couldn't get my 50,000, I couldn't do the job, so therefore my
Mhm.
job
Right.
didn't get finished.
Sure.
I mean, they even had people who, they might have only spent 40, right, Danny, like 40-something. And they were like, we just didn't use it all.
We're done, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's a bunch of different.
Right.
So it just, now we're left with, we have this unused amount. So what do we do with it? What we set it up for was, it was published on the LDC site, it was put out on Facebook, apply to this. But that whole system is, the people that were involved in that committee is none, so we had to start something essentially new to do
And-
with the remainder of the money.
And that's one of my, in the interest of time, because all of these funds do have to be
That's okay.
expended by the end of the year.
Yeah, we're up at the end
My
of
thought,
2026.
my proposal is that, we open up applications again for 30 days. I think, Danae, we were saying that maybe we could get open applications up even, let's say before the end of January. I think we were shooting for maybe, the last Friday of January, because then figuring, that allows 30 days. That would get us to roughly the end of February. The idea would be that then, Danae and myself go through the, applicants, and we should have a board meeting March 20th, so that we would bring kind of recommendations or the whole list to the board to vote on, to decide, okay, this is who it is to award it. This way we could start getting people going. That gives them the construction season to get what they need done, get those funds expended, put them towards good use. And, like I said, Danae's done a good job reaching out to a lot of folks that already applied, folks that didn't apply but kind of in passing had showed interest. And everybody seems to be like, you know, they can't get into the 50,000 right now, but if they could get 5 or 10, or
So we
that
don't
would
wanna
be really
award
helpful.
for $50,000 and then have $100K left over again. So our hope-
2010s or
Just
40,
Yeah.
45s, so you get
Yeah,
a wider,
it's more,
wider swath of
and
people.
it will help more folks too,
We
so.
ran a similar program using, actually, National Grid money, ironically, probably about 8 years ago, where the city, put out about $2 million of facade grants, but
Yeah.
they were smaller, and
Yeah, they were,
there was an
Yeah, and
application, you
only
could probably steal
residential,
for this,
wasn't it?
right?
It was open
yeah.
to residential,
It was
but
mostly
it could be
residential.
multifamily, I
Okay,
believe,
well-
because there were buildings that had like 2 apartments in
right,
it.
right,
And that was a $5,000 match?
yes.
Yeah.
And that could be tailored, I mean, the secret's in the sauce. If you have targeted areas where you wanna take that 200,000, you can think about whether it's gonna be citywide, or if you're gonna do like a focused area in Lansingburg, or do a focused area in another neighborhood, you can think about that.
Yes, well, that's what I think kind of, like most grants, I guess, even when you get to those, you know, multi-million-dollar higher level, that I would say we would definitely, you know, we are on the city end, something that, Danae worked on through City Planning Department, is Main Street Grant on Second Avenue, in Lansingburg. So, you know, for example, if somebody there has a need for the 10 and wants to apply, they'd probably get a little prioritized because they're combining it already with existing funding, so we're getting more out of our grant funding, those types of things.
Max the match.
Yeah, so, to maximize it, but, yeah, if I think that would just this would require a vote from the board here, or-
Ultimately, what you'd be doing technically is amending the existing agreement with the city.
Yes,
So this
which-
board would say, listen, we're authorizing the amendment to the ARPA grant agreement with the
Mhm.
city, and we'd like to deploy it. And certainly on the city side, you're gonna have to, I don't know if that's a council decision or if that's an
It
administrative
actually
decision.
doesn't have to be, we've amended, we've done there's examples of this, on the ARPA end, where there's been, where the recipients of these grants are really still staying within the ARPA guidelines, they're staying in really with the scope of the contract
do a
that already
technical
got
amendment,
city
okay.
council
Yeah.
passed, so
Yeah.
I guess a great example would be, we've done this for some of the community organizations that got, so say smaller ARPA funding grants, $100,000 or so, and their plan was we need to fix our roof and we want to do a stage that the community can use, and then all of a sudden their hot water heater blows up, or something happened that they wanted to pivot, and it's still a capital improvement, it still goes to help in that organization, so we've allowed them to make minor, amendments to it, and that really, what we do is the recipient signs an amendment, the mayor signs an amendment, so it's allowable under ARPA, so we would do the same thing for here too.
I would just urge, you know, I just went through a campaign, it took basically the whole year because I was in a primary, so I canvassed my whole district twice, and I gotta tell you, some of these multifamily residences really need
Need
a
some
lot
help.
of work, you know.
Mhm.
Steps are falling apart, it's really...
It's hard to knock on doors sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to be careful. Railings don't work, you know, it was an eye-opener, and I'm really glad that I did it, but if there's any way we can offer these,
Yeah.
landlords,
That's the trickiest part that we went through the first round, was getting people to,
Finding the landlord sometimes.
getting people to
Right.
apply.
Yeah.
I hear
It
you.
was, because I'd be sharing this
Yeah.
with every business owner I knew, and one thing, like restaurant owners too, a lot of them don't own the space, so I'd say, well, ask the owner. They can retrofit, you can give them the money, and they can do the kitchen and get, like, it just has to be the owner of the building applying for it, so that's one tricky thing, is people feeling the motivation to do that, and the other is just the motivation to fill out. It's not a difficult application, but sorry to anyone who rewatches this and finds it difficult. It's just, I was really encouraging people, but it's like, how do you know this stuff is out there? So, one way is, for example, in Lansingburg's Lansingburg Community Meeting is probably gonna come up at the beginning of February. Like, the only thing I would caution is putting the deadline to the end of January. Let's give it
Yeah.
like a cycle, you know, before the next meeting, it would be nice to have an idea of the applicants, but that's more than, I mean, that's the 30 days.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were figuring, the application opens up by the end of January, then gives the 30 days.
Yeah, it'll be pushed on social media, and, I mean,
So it would be
we can
open
put it
to
in the
landlords.
paper.
Yeah.
Is it open to landlords that are just, that are
Only if it has to be a building
residential
owner.
occupied? It has-
Multi,
Either the building owner can apply on behalf of their tenant, the tenant can apply, they just have to have the building owner sign off on it, so that they're in agreement with.
okay.
They're all supposed to be, you know, fixed improvements.
Mhm.
If there's something where it's like a specialized equipment or supply, then we were allowing that also. But if they have a 5-year maintenance period, if they leave or close up after that, then they have to pay it back. There's, like,
Now,
percentages.
Regarding residential,
Because that's what I almost think Noreen is
You would-
suggesting, residential.
Yeah.
It's not a resident.
Well-
Not residential.
right, but if there's like, what if there's a building with a business and a residence in it?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Oh, that would be good.
Just the facade would be the.
And
sorry.
the other, just to point out to what you're asking to put another, I have a couple hats here at the city of
Mhm.
Troy, and another one of them is on the land bank board. So, I mean,
Oh,
the
okay.
land bank's been completely reinvigorated. They're working
Yeah,
on
I
a
know.
bunch of different things to try to help
Mhm.
just what you're talking about too,
Mhm.
outside of just taking over dilapidated buildings and fixing up. You know, there's opportunity for some, you know, we talk about different facade grant programs and stuff too, but, I mean,
Okay.
I just think the moral of the story, what we're all saying here too, and a couple of us are involved in the city
Mhm.
in multiple ways, council, et cetera,
Mhm.
so I do think that anytime we can put these, what feels like smaller dollar amounts in hands of businesses or residents that really do just need that extra help to fix up that railing or do that, it really does, it works.
It's
So, I
amazing.
mean, anything this board could do, other organizations in the city as a whole, those smaller grants that go directly into the hands of, you know, property owners, commercial space owner, tenants of businesses, I mean, it really does help them so much go to that next level. They're beneficial programs.
Right.
So just to summarize, we don't have a formal amendment, a formal motion on the table, but I'll bring it up as, this is a motion for a technical amendment to our small business, improvement grant. We're looking at a 10K cap to
10K cap, yeah, we were
10K.
gonna promote it as 5 to 10, but you can put it as a 10K
Right,
cap.
well, however the 5 to 10,
Mhm.
so 5 minimum, 10,000 max.
Mhm.
Would you still accept the 50 if there's somebody out there that's doing the 50?
At this point, I don't think so,
Okay.
just because then it would
Try.
eat it up, and again,
Yeah.
where the whole
Might
purpose
end
to go
up-
down,
I
yeah.
understand, no,
We're-
but if someone comes up with something, hey, I gotta do this,
Mhm.
I was curious if it's already existing, if
Yeah.
we would consider it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say just 30 days, but that honestly, for the sake of this motion, like, if things change in the background while you're putting this out, like, the timeline is, less critical than the amount, and they'll work on the technical amendment. By next meeting, we'll have the summary of what that is, and we'll see some posts out. And do we have a motion for this small business amendment?
I will say yes, I'll make a motion.
I will
Or,
second.
sorry, any other questions or anything you wanna add today? Sorry, I didn't give you a chance, because it was your pet.
Oh, no, no.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. Okay, now, back to the motion. Andy, we have a
I'll make a
motion.
motion, yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Motion passes.
Uh,
Gonna be busy.
Yep, that concludes my report.
Okay, there is no new business or old business, because Seamus likes to put it all in the executive director's report, and I'm not a stickler for Robert and his rules, so we'll be okay with that. But we are going to go into financial statements with Matt.
Our first report is the statement of financial position. As of December 31st, we had total assets of $3,322,700, with $220,599 of that in cash. We had total liabilities of $982,893, which left us with a fund balance of $2,340,806. There's no significant change to the stable financial position for the month of December. And lastly, we have the statement of activity. For the month of December, we ran a deficit of $167,279. Our most significant source of revenue was in our National Grid license fee, and our largest expenses were related to the Proctor's building.
I ask a question. So, on December 18th, did title pass?
Yeah,
To
that,
the
that was my
LDC?
comment, that's to follow on with you. This is gonna be reintegrated when it's run for January. It's gonna pick up a new asset at the
Yeah.
value of the asset. It'll reflect the bond that's outstanding, the rent that's gonna be due from the city, and it'll track it as an asset as well. And we just
Well-
haven't had the time to sit down and get this integrated, so.
Okay, so there'll be an account set up for the what was the purchase price, the actual purchase price
The
of the,
acquisition of the building was $1.8 million.
thought so,
And
okay,
There's approximately $7 million construction contract, give or
that.
take.
yeah.
Which
So
is
that'll go
underway now.
into, construction in progress?
There's a bond fund that'll be drawn out of, and we do have a separate, and again, for Matt's benefit, we haven't sat down and
Okay,
basically added a layer to this financial statement before it gets audited.
Yeah,
which is
sure,
in
I
the next
understand.
60 days.
yeah, I understand.
That'll all be integrated, so you'll see more of a balance sheet reflection for Proctor's, and there's a separate account, I think, is it with M&T? That's an operating account for that building alone, so we can always track and audit the expenses that are associated with Proctor's itself.
And is the 7 million restricted?
Yeah,
Yeah,
only for
okay.
construction.
Okay,
The contractor can submit, draw requests under the construction contract, that gets audited internally, and then the trustee disperses directly to them. So we don't have to cycle it through our general checking every time they want a
right,
progress
right.
payment, so that's been set up, so.
We had approved, the only line in here that I think is related to Proctor's, right, is that architecture and engineering?
yeah, I saw that.
That's right.
And that's what that's the only thing that we had, put forward to approve ahead of,
Prior to, right, yeah.
prior to title was just to get everything rolling with that.
And that shows up as an expense?
Yeah, what's engineering firm upstairs?
So,
H2M.
H2M.
And H2M is looking at and approving all of the, construction.
Correct, there's.
Yeah, the owner's
there
rep.
are-
Yeah, there are-
As the owner's rep,
There's eyes on it, yeah.
that's exactly where I was going.
They're going to, just to go a little further, so they're going to, obviously, they helped leading up to the project, of course, throughout the design
Right.
process.
But
and
now that
everything. They're part of the
Yes.
construction meeting, so they're owner reps, so they're gonna be approving things as they go through as well. With consultation with, we kind of have a working group on the city end, you know, the city engineer, Chris Marini and such. Part of their services also will help a little bit of the, although we will have to, you know, do a moving company, an RFP for a moving company, but they're just gonna help a little bit of the dance of moving and things too. So they're helping on a couple things.
So knowing from a layman's term, we hired an engineering firm that is basically looking after our behalf as this board to say, okay, the contractor says they've done this, they wanna get paid for this, and then that engineer is gonna look over that and say, yes, I agree with that, or no.
yeah,
Exactly, it's our, so we hired them to protect our backs,
okay.
so.
And is was that the full amount that the 170 is, I see that's in the expense account. So none of that has to be capitalized. Is that the full amount that they'll get, architecture and engineering?
For now, there
That
may be some
engineering
owner's
firm.
rep stuff throughout this year. As the construction goes through completion and then closeout, I think they'll be spending some more time. I don't know if there's a budget on that yet from David, or if they've given you that.
We're getting
but-
that, and actually is a little bit under, I think that 170 also includes not just H2M either, right? I believe
Right,
it goes
yeah, there
further
was
than
some
that.
other, some taxes,
There's other-
insurance,
Yeah, that type of stuff.
which all had to be bound at the end of the
Yes.
year as well.
Which actually reminded me of a conversation.
And do you
about
use Bonadio? I mean, it's the same accounting group, auditing group that you'll consult with on the accounting for this?
Our auditor is
Wojcicki.
Wojcicki, and Matt is through actually BST. That's who does our accounting for the LDC.
Oh, okay.
So Bonadio is the auditor for the
For the city.
but, yeah,
So
Wojcicki
there's
is
a
the
separate-
LDC.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, and what's their name? Wojcicki?
Wojcicki, yeah.
And partners or co.
So, yeah.
How do you spell that?
Wojcski. I
Okay.
think are they the auditor for all those four, or are they your IDA auditor
Okay.
too, and, yeah, right?
And Matt, yours is,
They're
VST.
Yes.
Okay.
All the most recent audits are on the website, right? They've already been posted. So if you kind of filter through, and there's another conversation to have before we end today, you see this acknowledgement of fiduciary
Yeah,
duty,
yeah.
which I think you already signed.
Mhm.
If you go to, I think it's abo.ny.gov, the authority budgets office, the state authority budget office regulates IDAs and LDCs.
Okay.
Within their website, there's recommended guidance and board member training in there, so you can look at things about the open meetings law, or FOIL, or best practices, that kind of stuff. Within there, in 1 year from your appointment, you have to attend like a 3-hour online training. Every board member within a year of their appointment needs to attend that, so, and
I'm gonna send you like a welcome email that has
Okay.
the dates.
all that stuff,
I
yeah.
was able to download the Harris Beach Economic Development Handbook.
Oh, that's helpful too.
I'll just give you a PDF of
Okay,
that.
that'd be great.
easier.
I have hard copies if,
Yeah, if
new
you want
ones,
to.
yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of, alphabet soup and acronyms with economic development,
Great,
but LDC is one of them. So,
Great.
Best acronym around.
yeah, there you go.
We get a lot done.
back to the financials. Do we have any
Yeah.
further questions from Matt?
Yeah. Maybe for Seamus. So in the sources and uses of the bond proceeds from the issuance, there was an equity contribution from the LDC and the city and 500,000.
Right.
What was that for? How much from the city and how much from the LDC?
Yes, so
Split, yeah.
split down the middle, it was 250. The council authorized 250 from the city end, this board authorized the 250 from the LDC end. And that was just, I mean, that was really equity going into it. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't,
The reason for it ultimately was the developer was nothing to do with their proposal per se, but once they were selected, they had their architects and engineers working on this for 9 to 10 months.
Okay, so
And they actually had a pre-construction set of drawings that were put on the table.
Mhm.
So they had a lot of hard costs, well, soft costs actually, that were, developed before we signed a thing. So, and then ultimately, when you selected H2M to come in and help, those were morphed into a kind of a value engineered and more
Mhm.
bespoke for the city's operations. Those designs and architectural drawings evolved right up until closing. So the 500 was to pay the developer for their costs that were kind of in the wind.
Okay, so that's really like a development fee or?
A little bit, yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
to, I think in the way too, the why it kind of served as, and we chose to keep it as, well, one, it was good to put the equity into it, and two, once the development agreement was approved again by the council and by this board,
Mhm.
you know, that was kind of built in too, because like Justin said, at that point, you know, Columbia and BBL are putting a lot of, work product into it, and if the lease was to fail, the city
I
council,
remember reading
you know,
that, yeah.
it also would have served as a little bit of a breakup fee if they had,
Mhm.
they were always gonna have to show, they weren't gonna just get the 500, but, you know, the thought was, okay, this will be 500 that goes into an equity, or if there does have the need for a breakup fee, and they show, hey, we've put 350,000 in work product in this, you know, they would get paid for that if it ever
They
failed.
could have paid more for the building, and it
Which-
was all
yeah.
kind of
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
somewhat fungible.
Mhm. Telling you, you're gonna grow to love this project, Mark.
Well,
By the end of the year, we were sick of talking
to be
about it.
determined.
Your first meeting, give us a couple more.
Yeah. We gotta start doing hard hats and have meetings over there.
Yes, honestly, it's, have you been in there, Noreen? I don't know if you
Um,
came to any of the public engagements.
I did,
Yeah,
I did,
yeah.
yeah, I was in there.
Amazing, and I don't know if,
And I know they're working on it, I was at a, bid meeting, board meeting yesterday.
Okay, are you in
morning,
the bid
so,
board now
yeah.
too?
No, but,
Oh, just you were present then, yeah.
but I was present,
Okay.
yeah, because it's my district, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
That block of Fourth is gonna be so changed.
It's gonna be, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Yeah, have you
out last
had
night.
any interest in, you know,
The building
development?
already changed hands, and a couple projects are going in, and I know Laporto is
Yes.
gonna
you-
blow up,
so
and,
you-
yeah.
Right.
You know what, you want to, and I'm not trying to derail too, I swear, Jeff. But, we, you know, the mayor and I had a meeting yesterday with, some of the larger institutions in the city, RPI President Marty and, you know, Sage and St. Peter's and Emma Willard and, you know, Marty, RPI President, told a story that one of the development that's going on right next door to the new city hall, I forget exactly what state they're from, but out west or so, I think. I don't know if you're familiar with the person developing it,
In
but,
the knee studio, there's.
yeah.
I think there was an article in the paper about that
Mhm,
months ago.
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah, it was in
Yeah.
the ABR, but yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like bringing his, like,
Right.
kid here to look at RPI, and after going
Mhm,
around downtown
right.
Troy, said, I'm buying a building in downtown Troy.
Yeah, he was very
And that's the-
excited.
You know, that's a building that's getting developed too, and he's just ecstatic about what's going on, you know, with the new City Hall project too. But, and another little thing is, I don't know if any of you are familiar with, I have to circulate these photos to you guys, you'll really appreciate them, but
So John Ballmer.
John Bulmer, yeah, so he went
did a
in
great
and,
job
he
with
did
that.
a great job,
Yeah.
but what you don't see is, it was actually part of a little bit of a horse trade. I told him that I'd let him in the building to take pictures, because he's wanted to always do it. But I said, I have to give you a couple pictures that are black and white of the lobby and such, and you have to colorize them for me.
Oh, yeah, he does that.
Because we really wanna, not only would it be cool to see, we wanna utilize it, when we start talking
idea.
about finishes and such, and try to make that as close as possible to the way it was before. Oh, my God.
It's a game changer,
It is but it's just, you know, you're used to, I've been staring at these black and white photos, I mean, some of us even way before this was a project known, and just to see them colorized, and the work he does, he's great, and he's, really excited about the
Because he
project.
posted that, there was like a chain of people commenting, and someone posted that, I had to like look this up, but they had to use a special projector lens because of the angle of the camera, which I thought was kind of neat, like they had to accommodate,
With the Keystone, yeah, they had to turn it down, yeah.
yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it is really, it's really something in there.
The Egg just did it, and it might be something to pick up on. They just did a, $20 million renovation, and as part of it, when they were literally using, for modern production, they were using soundboards and electronic equipment from the 70s.
Really?
So they took that stuff and put it out in the lobby as kind of like a display of like the dials and the tubes and the
days.
buzzers and everything. There's stuff down in the Proctor's basement, the old projectors and old really ancient equipment
Wow.
that might be kind of cool just
Yeah.
put out
agree
as
with
a display.
Oh,
you
I
know,
I
think
agree.
that's an
How far
excellent
we've
idea.
fallen.
That's just sitting down there.
Right,
So,
it's free,
yeah.
yeah.
It's gotta be
Oh,
valuable.
God,
Badass.
really? Holy shit.
Yeah. How far
And that
we've-
floor's still there.
And that yes, we're gonna be able to still save that.
Nice.
That's really cool. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
See,
Put
one
that on
step-
Facebook, Danae.
Yeah.
I have to do some more.
We are gonna beef up our Facebook,
Wow.
you know, with
The
just
LDC
so you
has
know,
a
too.
pretty
We've-
active
We've
page,
talked
yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
it's gotten more active, but,
At the last meeting we had, didn't we have someone that was gonna be doing that for us?
Or was that
well,
divided?
so
Social media
then, if
person?
you think, if you were at the
Sorry, somebody
public,
last one?
Yeah, I
thing,
was.
it's actually, see, this, and
Did
this
you
is,
walk in?
SHPO actually, this was one of their requests.
Last year seems like
So
a-
when
no.
it kinda went through,
Not sure what
renovation to become a movie theater, they took like that out and made
Oh.
it into like a popcorn stand and
Yeah, I've
everything.
seen, yeah, there's
You
a
know,
popcorn.
so we might even have an opportunity to change that,
Uh-huh.
and then
I had clients in that.
I have
went to
one more.
Boston last night to catch their flight, and I was
out
worried
about this
that.
stuff, but, and again,
Oh.
if you've ever,
That's
if,
pretty cool.
if you went
Every morning
into,
I wake up and I'm like,
do you
"Ooh."
recall going in and seeing kind of the mural? It looked a little ripped at the bottom, it's kind of in between the lobby and that,
No, but that's awesome.
oh,
It's a good
That,
pause
is that
on the rain,
actual,
that's, well, it's him,
I ran-
right now, it's,
restored, like,
it's for his,
it's actually,
yes, John
okay.
restored it to its
Wow.
original. And that's the plan, to try to restore that too. Actually, Don Rittner's helping us with trying to get
5 days
some
in
funding
Riyadh,
for that.
and 2 days in Jeddah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
keep it
I know,
positive
that's
until
gonna
we
kill
get
me,
to
I know.
It's a little dicey.
I do,
Don't wanna
I
go.
know,
Okay.
I'm real
You know,
sorry.
one of those accidental
The-
deaths that gets a,
Yeah.
We have a
Sam
motion.
up.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept as presented.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we have adjournment. Who wants to take it home?
Maureen needs to do that.
Motion.
I like it.
All in favor?
Aye, thank you.